Well, good evening and welcome to the Go TAFE Goulburn Valley Football Show. It's finals time in the Valley and it couldn't come any better or any sooner as far as we're concerned. We will see the elite of the elite and it'll all get underway with the under-18s. Well, g'day Mario, under-18 footy at its best.
Yeah, it's all happening this weekend, kicks off and we're in for a great final series.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute beauty, isn't it? There's no absolute standout in any level this year, I don't think, really.
No, look, I think the two sides that have obviously had the form all year have been Benalla and Echuca, that's sitting top two, but even those two aren't guaranteed to win it, so it can be anyone's.
Yeah, there's talk that sides like Shepparton could get a few back. There's certainly talk that a side like Euroa could get a few back. They've used a great deal. Both those clubs have used a lot of boys at senior level, so it's going to be pretty interesting footy.
I think we find out this time of year it evens out a lot, with guys coming back. There won't be too many Bushies guys coming back because they've still got finals commitments, so that won't have a huge impact, but certainly senior footballers coming back down will really balance it out across the whole ground.
Good on you, mate, but let's start getting into it and you can tell me your thoughts on what's going to happen this weekend.
Well, just the top six for the viewers out there is Echuca finished on top with 68. They only had the one loss. They've had a great year up there in the Murray. Benalla finished second on 64, and then we had Kyabram on 52. Euroa finished fourth on 48. Then Shep United on 46 and followed by Shepparton on 40. So, those four sides have earned their spot and they're all in good form. They've all had wins other than Euroa and Shep United, who both suffered a loss coming into the final. So whether that affects them or not, you don't really know. The goal kickers, Ben McDonald from Coburn Football Club got over the top of his colleague and out there in Zane O'Donnell to win it on 44 goals, which is not a bad effort. Didn't get anywhere near what Staffy's effort from Euroa last year, where he kicked a bag full in the last round. 17 or 18.
Yeah, that's right. I was to get over the line there.
Yeah, but Zane O'Donnell, I'll just need to point out, the kid has not played a game of football in 8 weeks, I reckon, and he had a broken bone in his foot, so that's not a bad effort. He had 39 goals up until about round 8. Will he come back for Kyabram this week? Look, I don't know. I haven't heard anything. You're leaving it a bit late if he hasn't. He'd be a bit underdone. The Rosignoli Real Estate Award, our last nomination tonight.
Yep.
For Alan Rosignoli there, the biggest award in under-18 football in country Victoria.
In the world.
He says that every time.
Yeah.
Go down and see Alan and his team down there at 115 Wyndham Street in Shepparton, or give them a ring on 58 211 277 and they'll look after all your real estate needs. But this week, young fella at United who's had a good year for them and also worked hard around the club is Spencer Gillespie. He's the grandchild of Nobby Gillespie.
Yeah, great man in football, life member of the Goulburn Valley Football League.
So Spencer, congratulations on your nomination, and we'll be announcing the winner of that in the near future.
That's fantastic.
So thank you to Alan Rosignoli again for his support this year.
He's a great bloke, and what Mario just alluded to then is that it is a fantastic award for the young men playing in this competition, and the criteria is, it's not all about being the best footballer, is it, Mario? It's about what you do around your club. It's about what's obviously your football ability does come into it.
It comes into it, but we look at what they do around the club and how they're seen in their community, in their football community, and football these days for these young men is more than just playing football. It's about a whole of life situation and how they handle themselves. So well done to Spencer and all the other nominations. This week we've got the finals obviously, and we kick off on Saturday over at Marutna at 10 o'clock. Benalla versus Echuca. This will be a sensational game. There's not too much separating these two sides. Look, I've been on Benalla's bandwagon all year, so I'm going to stick with them. I think they'll get the chocolates over there and get over the top of Echuca. And then on the Sunday there's 2 games. We've got the elimination final number 1 at Echuca, and that is between Kyabram and Shepparton, and this will be a ripper game as well. Shepparton are in good form at the moment. I'm predicting they'll get 3 or 4 players back from their senior squad, so I think that'll be enough to get them over the line against Kyabram. And then elimination final number 2 on the Sunday, Euroa versus United, and this will be a cracker. This will be the 2 probably most evenly matched sides going around on this weekend, and I reckon it's probably going to be the match of the round. Euroa, if they get their 3 or 4 players, the 2 Trotter boys, McKernan and whoever else has been playing seniors, if they come back down, they will win. Make no doubts about it. Without them, I can't see them winning. And I hope, I'm going for Euroa because they've dropped out in straight sets the last 2 years, and I'd love to see the Euroa boys, the Magpies, flying the flag in one league anyway. So all the best to Euroa.
The sad part for those boys, collectively the group at Euroa, the big Gleeso's done a fantastic job coaching them. And what you said is a fact, actually. Those other boys probably will stay, I would think, in their senior side because of the mounting injuries they've got at Euroa, and it'll make it very, very difficult indeed for the boys in the black and white Guernseys, but we wish you all the best.
And just the other thing to point out, they play time on in the second half and the thirds during the final, so, fitness will come into it. Whereas they've been playing 20-minute quarters, second halves now will be 20 plus, so they could be playing 10 extra minutes of a game, which really comes to the fore.
Well, Benalla are the reigning premiers, and they'll certainly, as even though Echuca did finish on top of them, they'll probably start favourites, you would think.
Yeah, I think so.
But I'm going to go for a bit of an upset there, and I know Wally's a great friend of ours here at the Footy Show, and so I'm going to in an upset because I'll get another crack to go around again. They might lose their first final, Benalla, and in the other game I think Shep will be too strong for Kai, and I think United might get the Pies. That's the way I see it. So,
well, Foxy, you're very
interesting. Very
confident. But
what show was that on?
I'd have to disagree.
Laughing.
I think you're wrong. And Wally, don't listen to him. Benalla boys will win.
Yeah, well, there you go. So Wally will either. I shouldn't have said that before we picked up the goose's neck off him. I was only joking. Well, but anyway, mate, thank you very much.
No problem.
When do you think you'll work out the calculations on the Alan Rosignoli boy?
Look, I've sort of gone through them now, and I've got it down to about 4.
Okay.
And so I'm pretty confident that next week we should have an outcome.
Well, we'll see you next week for sure, my boy.
Not a problem.
Good on you, Mario.
Thank you.
Mario Di Santana telling us all about what he expects to happen in the under-18s in this big weekend of finals football. You heard it all here on the GB Footy Show. Now, a word from Wally's mob, Toyota.
Benalla and Mansfield Toyota, JL, Ovens and Delatite Ford are all part of the Value Auto Group. Check their website for great deals on new and used cars. Go to valueauto.com.au. It's so easy.
Okay, it's time to talk football now in the Go Tafe Golden Valley League, but we are going to go to the reserve level, the reserve 18, and a new member of the crew that's going to help us out through the final series from the Shepparton News, and a suave, cool and sophisticated Oliver Caffrey. How are you, mate?
Thanks, Foxy. Going great. Great to be on, and big final series coming up.
Yeah, mate. We've sort of thrown you to the wolves a little bit, and but one of the things we do want to do is cover all age levels, and the under-18s have always been important to us. Now we have got the reserve grade to talk about, and I'll let you fire away. Now, how do you see the games this weekend? First off, Benalla will take on Mooroopna at Mooroopna. Should be a great game of footy.
Oh, it should be a great game of footy. Benalla, this reserve side is as good as any you'll see in the whole of country Victoria. There's some guys running around in that team that could easily be playing senior footy, and they obviously have throughout the season and the last few seasons. Guys like James Crusher Dalton, Charlie Morrison, Tommy Havers, Cam Symes, Tom O'Brien, they're just quality names and could easily fit into most GVFL senior sides going around. So, yeah, they're probably putting their name up for selection in the senior side in these games as well. So they'll really want to perform well and obviously get the job done for the second semi-final next week. So, yeah, the Saints absolutely smashed Euroa last week, and obviously Euroa is the reigning premier in the reserve competition, so that's no mean feat at all. It was more than 100 points, that result, so that just shows you how well they're really going. They've only lost one game for the season, but it actually was against Mooroopna, at Mooroopna going back about 3 or 4 weeks. So maybe with the game being at Mooroopna, it might give the Cats a bit of a chance. They were pushed last week by Shep in a pretty good game, and you talk about experienced guys at senior level. We'll have a few there as well with Mooroopna. They have Jesse Webster, Matt Caleri, Baden Fallon, Reece McKenzie. They've all played a lot of senior footy, and I think will perform really well come finals time. So, yeah, especially with Mooroopna's senior side, they're not featuring in finals, so they're going to have all those guys available and firing to go. But it's going to be a really tight one, especially at Mooroopna and that home ground advantage. But I think Benalla, just their experience across the board, I think they might get up by about 19 points. What do you reckon, Foxy?
Yeah, well, it's going to be a great game. What you said is very true. I think once this senior side goes out, I do believe it gives the coach of that side the opportunity to show his wares. Sammy Little has been around a long time in reserve football. They were beaten by Euroa in last year's grand final. The boy who's coaching Mooroopna, he would have enjoyed the fact of having his own group on the track this week and just get together and talk. I think from a coaching perspective, it really assists the coach whose senior side is out.
Definitely.
But for the quality of training, I think it's always at a distinct advantage when your senior side is still firing up in the finals as well. And for that reason, the training would have been a little bit sharper at Benalla. I'll go for Benalla, even though it is Marutina's home ground. I'll go for the Benalla boys to get the chockies. Another great game, or two great games again too. Mansfield, they make the trek right a long way to travel. Over they go to play Kyabram at Echuca.
Yeah, really good game this one. The Eagles are really up and about at the moment. They had a really good win last week against Seymour, and Seymour are travelling along nice. We'll speak about them in a bit, but that was a huge result. And with Mansfield as well, their senior team isn't in finals, and they've got plenty of guys as well, like those other teams we mentioned, that have played a lot of senior footy and are very experienced guys like Guy Taylor, Jimmy Hopgood, Sam Christopher, Matt Storer. They've played plenty of senior footy, so yeah, that's going to give them a big advantage, I think. But yeah, as you said, going over to Echuca, it's a big trip, more than 2 hours, so maybe that might come into it a bit. Kai only has to go up the road really, about half an hour. So yeah, it wasn't a great way for Kai to finish off last week. They lost against Rochester over at Moon Oval, and Rochi hasn't been going that well in the Rezzies this year. So yeah, they would have wanted to win that one, Kyabram. They're up by about, up comfortably at three-quarter time. They really would have fancied the chances of going on and winning that game, but they couldn't do it. They got overrun in the last quarter, so that is a bit of a concern going down against a side that's well and truly out of finals contention. But yeah, they faded pretty badly, and I think Mansfield, they've only lost about 4 or 5 games for the season, so I think just going on that form, I think they might get up in this one by about 30 points.
Yeah, a wealth of experience in the Mansfield side, isn't there? And Matty Storer, Matty Storer's been around and been a great player. I think he's a premiership player in Mansfield's senior side here when they won the flag here, and a wealth of knowledge, and he'll tell the boys how to prepare for, particularly for the trip over there. I think Mansfield might get Kai. I really do, and I think they might get him by about to the tune of about 3 or 4. But it promises to be a great game of footy, no doubt. And then on Sunday, well, up they come, up the highway they travel, the Seymour boys. They go to Benalla, and of course Echuca now, the shoes on the other foot, they've got to travel from one side of the state to the other virtually when they go to Benalla. This will be a great game of football.
Great game of footy. Seymour, their reserve side as well, as we spoke about. The senior side's still going around, so they've got guys that will be pushing for selection, but you just look at some of those names, and Paul Colbert's been playing reserves footy the last few weeks, and we know what sort of player he is. So
Great
have someone of that experience running around the twos helping out. Who knows whether he'll play this weekend. He might probably be back in selection of the senior side, but yeah, they're going along really nicely, and they've pushed Benalla both times they've played them this season. Round 1, it was a really close encounter that day. It might have been a kick after the siren. It was very close, and then a few weeks ago they had a few guys out that day, but were still able to push them to 3 or 4 goals. So yeah, they've come home with a rush this year, and they'll be pretty disappointed not to have beaten Mansfield last week. That was a bit of a disappointing effort on their behalf, but yeah, guys like Nick Clydesdale, Xavier McMahon, Ash Walsh, lots of senior experience, really good players, and I think that will serve them pretty nicely. And Echuca, they've won 11 games for the season, and they were able to smash the Tura last week to finish off the home and away season pretty nicely. Seniors obviously aren't playing finals, so yeah, a lot of guys to choose from. Jake Van Dongen, Brendan Prendergast, Mark Smith, they've played senior footy. Chris Dellavedova, he's actually the cousin of NBA player Matt Dellavedova, and he's going to be running around there. He's been an integral part of the side this year. And
I'll be running around telling the world, I was him.
Yeah, exactly right.
He might do it right.
Might do well for him.
The big fellow like Prendergast, he's been such a campaigner for that club and been around a long time, Big Prender, and works hard, and he's had to do some fill-in jobs for him in the seniors sometimes. He's been a great player, and I'm sure that he'll lead by example for the boys, but I'm going to go for the Lions, mate.
I'm going to go for the Lions as well. I reckon about 30 points, and don't count them out for the flag. They come home with a rush, and yeah, Benalla, Seymour, there's so many sides that could possibly win it. It's going to be a great final series.
All right, mate. Well, listen, thanks for your time, and you'll be back the same time next week. And
I'll be back on. Looking forward to it.
You've done really, really well first time in the park. And might I tell you that
look at this.
Grey could be your colour. Well, I'm telling you right now that talking of Grey, we've got the old grey-headed bloke coming up, and the fellow who coached the winning reserve side last year in Euroa. So we'll be talking about the mainstay boys in a minute. But thanks for your time, mate, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Foxy. Cheers.
That was Oliver Caffrey here to talk footy in the Valleys, and we're going to have Guy Morford, John Ryan up soon. So let's hear a little bit from Morford and Harper, the builders in town.
Thinking about building or renovating? Consider Harper & Morford Residential and Commercial Builders first. Sustainable, innovative construction and design for over 16 years. Harper & Morford offer hassle-free, efficient, cost-effective building solutions. Drop into our showroom or visit us online.
Well, and now it is time for the real deal in GB footy. And of course, the senior panel from on my left, Guy Morford. How are you, Guy?
Good, David. How are you?
Pretty good, thank you. And finals football at last?
Oh, I'm up and about. I like this time of year. Spring, it warms up a bit. My old grandpa mate over here is up and about. We're all excited.
No, well, I'm not excited because when finals comes, there's not much footy left. Then what are we going to do after footy?
Well, you never know. You absolutely never know.
Come and cut your grass.
And now, what you're going to see, I'm just going to call upon Haig when he gets his opportunity, the people that are our major sponsors during the final series, and I'll put them up right now, the boys from Toyota. You'll see that that's their logo there. We're going to run with that, and without any further ado, I'll go through the scores from last week's games. The last home and away round saw Benalla 47 points, too good for Euroa. Then we saw Mansfield, big winners. Seymour big winners over Mansfield by 64. Shepparton in somewhat of an upset, but I was going to ask you this question. Since the two, I know Blake was the last time coach of Marupna on the weekend, and Brad, has Marupna ever beaten Shep while Blake's been there? I'll tell you what, I don't know. Okay. All right, but anyway, Shepparton got the Chockies by 30 points. The Swans by 67 over United. Rochi by 39 points over Kyabram. Tatura. And well done to the boys. The
Mighty Dogs.
Yeah.
They picked them.
33-point winners over Echuca. And sees our ladder like this, and that is Rochester on top with 64, Benalla on 56, Kyabram, the Swans and Seymour all on 48. That's a reflection of how the year's been. Euroa on 38. Outside the 6 is Marupna on 32 with Mansfield on 32, Shepparton 24, United 24, Echuca 14, and Tatura got away with a win on the last game of the season, have got 4 points. Goal kickers, and congratulations go out to Josh Mellington. He's won the goal kicking, finishing the season off with 95.
11 last week, folks.
Yep. Harry Madden finished with 72. Steve Strubant on 61. Billy Burston 56. Sard 49. George Burberry on 43.
Two players, boys, I reckon the last 4 or 5 weeks gone quite. Justin Madden and Billy Burston in the goal kick.
Yep.
Well, it'd be fair to say, Guy, their second half of the year, both boys been fairly quiet.
Yeah, they have, obviously. And Foxy, you were at the game last week. I just want to put this out there, and we all know the situation with what happened with Mellington. If you had been on in that third quarter, could have he kicked his 100?
No.
He's kicked 11 goals for the game, which is a fantastic effort on 95 goals. Good player.
Yeah, he's a great player. But at the stage when he was removed from the ground, Euroa were playing particularly well. They were frustrating Benalla. They kept a possession game going and didn't allow Benalla to run. And the game had sort of been a low-scoring affair for a little while, but obviously in the last quarter they just went to town.
Now, John.
Yes.
I've got something I want to bring up.
Yes.
I want the viewers to have a look at this photo. Now, fair's fair and love and war. I was picked on last week about my hairstyle. So all the viewers out there, I want you to take a look at my big mate in the middle here, back in his heyday at school. David, can you take me through this picture, please?
I haven't seen the picture.
Well, if you haven't seen it, what about that for a head of fairy floss? The big red Roger Ramjet, hey, big strapping young man with his blazer on.
I just hope it is me and you haven't got some other lunatic.
Well, okay. And John, don't you laugh, because for the viewers as well, I've got one of my old mate JR here. Have a look at this cute little boy. Top right hand, second from the right, and have a look at his blonde little locks. Two strapping young men here, and like I said, what goes around comes around, boys.
Yeah,
that'll be lovely.
Oh, look at Look, it's...
He's got to have a long memory.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. But as he's picking up his dole check next week, it'll be time to reflect on exactly where he once used to be. Now,
thanks, Nola, too.
Spring Carnival is coming up. We want to say good day to all the Hayes crew out there at David Hayes' stables, and we've got a couple of boys we're sending out there that are going to qualify in the spring fashions and design. First off, have a look at this shot here of John Ryan. This is his Oaks Day outfit and looks $1 million and looks a treat, actually. And of course, here's a lovely photo of the couple, Mr. and Mrs. Saracino. I can tell you right now, they have a look at the modelling they're doing for us
Sammy.
here. And this Sammy's, of course, the Win TV guru, and what a job that he does do. And Johnny, their season came to an end last year, but the mighty man, Quentin Thompson, he just needed some time out after it was all over. And
Last year or last week?
Last week.
Okay.
They said to Quentin, what are you getting up to? And he said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to jump in my boat I'm just going to go do a little bit of fishing out on Lake Eildon.
The big Q.
Have a look at the big Q, and he looks a treat.
He wanted to take some friends in the boat with him, but there was no room.
Yeah, the SS League and Lena.
He's going to have your guts, Foxy, I'll tell you.
No, he loves me. Don't worry about that. But today, and I can tell you, we've mentioned that Toyota are our major sponsor up there in Benalla, and the boys are collectively, there's a group of car yards, and we're rapt to have them on board, and they have the scoreboard rights right through the final series. But today, I met one of the great blokes, Johnny, and I'm telling you right now, in Peter Kennedy. Peter Kennedy, he's got a business, and it's called Tatura. Well, look, it's Tatura Landscape and Garden Supplies. Now, Peter went out there, we met the boys, Jordan was out there, he's a leading hand. There's a couple of photos you'll see Jordan and Mari. Mari's he wants to go on the farm or wants a wife, so we've got to probably help Mari out here a little bit. Now you can see Jordan's a pretty well educated bloke there sitting in the Bobcat, and then you've got Mari in the truck trying to show the Sheilas. But Tatura Landscape and Gardening Supplies, and they've got things that they do are things like Tatura lawn mowing and gardening services, so they'll do anything and everything. They can also supply sand, soil and gravel supplies, mulch, pebbles. They've got skid steer and tip truck service. You can see their dingo, they'll hire out a dingo.
Yes.
For nothing to do there, and they've got they tree prune, they do lawn mowing, general garden maintenance. They can install sprinklers, they can put in paving around the pool, you name it. They're the real deal.
I've used them myself, Foxy, and they do a wonderful job.
But the sales girl there, the secretary of the place, Wonky, we got to meet Wonky the donkey.
Here's Wonky.
Have a look at Wonky.
And that's not Peter, that's Donkey there.
Yeah, but Peter tells us that Wonky's got a bit of a...
Wonky.
Wonky is a donkey.
That's what I said.
That'll do.
And John, it's coming up to springtime. Do you reckon we can get David's mow trimmed with the old hedge trimmer from him?
Yeah, that's exactly us.
You tidied up a little bit.
You'll see a few photos of them, and we are absolutely thrilled to have the boys from TAC.
Good on her for getting on board.
Yeah,
good stuff.
It is really wonderful for us.
Make sure you use it.
Yeah, and make sure you do. Oh, listen, while I think of it, you can ring Jordan on 0427 349 109, or alternatively Peter on 0419 117 310. And if Mari behaves himself, they reckon he might end up with a phone by Christmas time.
That's right.
That's a little bit, but they're a bit worried about him, see how he goes on. But anyway, moving on, we have to go now with it, John. The Tatura Hotel.
Hang on while I mix them up.
Okay.
Now, before you go, we want to thank all the entries this week, because there is a massive amount of entries this week. All right, David, in you go.
There we go. Well,
Johnny?
I'm trying to get these 3 or 4 stuck together there.
Righto. Put him down again.
The winner is from the Euroa Football Club. Mark Stevens.
Good on you, Mark.
So good on you, Mark. You win it,
Mark.
and we'll give this to Guy Morfitt.
Guy Morfitt.
He's a great supporter of the show, Mark. He loves riding into the mailbag, and that's well deserved. Good on you, Mark.
Well, there's your voucher, and if you don't get it, you know Morfitt.
You don't get it. I've gone to the Tatura Hotel.
Yeah, so I'll just write Mark Stevens on it.
Yeah.
Not negotiable. And
good on you, Mark.
You're the man.
Just do that in your own time. Well done, Mark.
David, this week's question is, Euroa finished on top of the ladder this year, boys. Where did they finish last year?
Who? Rochester.
Sorry, Rochester. Rochester finished on top of the ladder this year.
Where did they finish
Now
last
that's
year?
a better question, John.
Oh, thank you.
That is a much better question.
Stepped up a bit.
Yeah.
Now,
Made it hard.
another thing that I want to do, and you can contact through Guy's mailbag,
Morph's
mailbag, sorry, at gmail.com.
That's it.
Now, we're going to auction off 2 of our GV footy shows. Now, we will have them
Shows or shirts?
shirts from the show.
Yeah.
You know, people knew what I mean. You get the GV footy show shirt, but we'll have your name put on it. We've got 2 to give away, so a husband and wife routine.
Do they come with built-in speed bumps?
Yeah, well, they do, yes, exactly. I've modelled mine off Oliver Caffrey's, and if Oliver can have starter buttons on his, I've got starter buttons on mine.
So we're gonna go to the highest bidder.
Yeah. So what if you are interested? We'll run it for 2 weeks, and I can tell you all costs are going to go to the presentation of the live streaming of finals. Don't forget the preliminary finals in 3 grades.
Doesn't go to us.
Thirds, seconds, and seniors. It won't be going to us at all, and also grand final day. So to the highest bidder, I know a lot of people. Kenny Sheldon, he wears his wherever he goes.
Yep.
He told me, Kenny said, if I get married again, Foxy, I'm going to get married in this T-shirt.
As he would.
Oliver Caffrey is out as we speaking right now. Got a pair of footy nicks on, running down the Wyndham Street in Shepparton, showing off the GV footy.
I sent one to Prince Charles. He just couldn't get it over the wing nuts.
Exactly,
And we might even grab a texter and put our moniker on it for him as well.
yeah,
we'll sign it.
look, no, we won't sign it. That'd wreck it. But
Well, yours would, but ours
no.
wouldn't.
But if you are keen to have a go at it, I can tell you right now that after we have them all signed up and printed up, and all the sponsors and the people that have looked after, Steel Line, what's his name, Bill?
Yeah, very
Go Tape GV Footy, and plus the GV Footy Show logo, and your name on it. And by the end of the day, it costs us $25 to get that. So don't ring up and say, I'll give you $25 for 2.
Costs a bit more than that, Foxy. I'll give you the tip.
It's a bit more than that.
Yeah, but anyway.
But they can also ring you if they want to put a bid in.
Yeah, well, you certainly can, but there's 2 up, and we'll run it for 2 weeks. And don't forget, it's the opportunity of a lifetime. There's a lot of people out there that love to be seen in GV Footy Show shirt, the highest rating show in the land. I just thought I'd say that. But anyway, we're starting to get pushed for time, fellas. So
we've got to go to the footy.
moving right along.
Big
We've
one.
got a couple of games to talk about in the first up.
We've got 3 games to talk about.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But the first game up is Guy. It's your call, and you are going to talk about. I've lost my running.
I'm going to talk about Seymour and the Shep Swans.
Correct.
This game will be at Benalla on Sunday. What shapes up to be obviously a good game. It's 4th versus 5th, I believe, John.
Yep.
Look, there's going to be some good matchups in this game. I think the weather's meant to be 23 on Sunday, John. So fittest team could win this game, and boys keep hydrated. Brent LeSurf, he's had a good year, Brent LeSurf. Going to be some good matchups. Could play on Kane Proctor. Hugh Robinson, big task. I mean, Hugh's up to this job. Don't worry about that. He's been in the best 11 times this year, Hugh Robinson, and mark my words, you are a gun. Going to play on Justin Madden. Justin's kicked 71 goals this year. Probably gone a little bit quiet in the back half of the year, but don't worry, he still knows how to pluck a good mark. Tommy Freeman, may get the job on Caden Antonowitz. 40 goals this year, young Caden takes a very good mark out in front, and I think Tom Freeman, you're going to have to play a close checking game on Caden to keep him under control. Up the other end of the ground for Seymour, we look at their forward line. Casey Duncan kicked 9 goals this year, pretty serviceable player. Tim Bongetti, 37 goals, John, and he really adds some spark to Seymour. Probably Andrew Reardon would get the job there. Been in the best 8 times, Andrew Reardon. Saad, 49 goals. Probably a little bit quiet the last 4 or 5 weeks, but I tell you, his last 2 weeks of footy have been good. A good matchup there could be Tommy Priest, I reckon, David, to take that. Tommy Priest is the sort of player that loves a challenge like that and loves it tough and hard as well. Kyle Winter-Irving, another good player, has had a good year, kicked 11 goals. Matty Keys could get the job there, coming back into the side. Ryan Keys, his brother, coming back in the side this week. And look, through the midfield, this is going to be some great matchups through here. Obviously, Grenfell, his ruck work has been second to none this year. He's come from sort of, a little bit unknown. Playing on Mitch Bell, another bloke I rate, John. This bloke, he's young. These 2 boys are both young and got a lot to learn, but what I love about them is the fact that they want to get better all the time, and that's going to be a great matchup. Tyson Sidebottom for me and BJ Squire is where blokes like this are going to come into finals football. playing on blokes like Paul Scanlon and Jason Cole, you would pay to get in and watch these matchups, David, because they will be 4 players that will really go about their job. Getting back to the half back line, Brent Colbert, Harrison Wheeler and Tim O'Keefe, all good players. Probably Tommy Davies, Jack Threlfall and Paul Fry. They're going to have to keep quiet for the Shep Swans. Want to make a mention of Brett Meredith too, John. Been in the best 14 times this year, Brett Meredith, and probably... He started the year, I think he was probably a little bit quieter, but don't underestimate Brett Meredith. He's a class player. He's kicked 18 goals for the year and will probably get a good match up on Quade Johnson, who's also been in the best 10 times. So last time it was Shep Swans by... it was 31 points and... they lost, Seymour lost the Shep Swans, obviously that lost through the year by 80 points. I think they've learned a lot since then though, John, and look, for me, I think I just think Seymour are going to be too good.
Yeah, look, I think when you hit on the head, it's going to be one through the midfield, especially I believe on the Benalla footy ground. The only concern that worries me for the Shep Swans, and it's been a concern for them all year, I believe, is the 2 goal kickers, 71 to Madden and 40 to Tonovich. Paul Fry is their next best with 16, and then Squires and Reardon with 7. So, to me, that's their... At finals level, they've got to find another 2 or 3 goal kickers. Now, whether they throw Reardon forward and use the key boys, either on Bongetti and Cole Winner-Irving, if Ryan Keys comes back in, Matty Keys can go up and say to go to Bongetti and then throw Reardon forward. But I think for them to win, they have to find another couple of key forwards, Foxy, to kick goals from. And that's why at this stage, Jason Cole, you spoke about him, he's in sensational form, Jason Cole. He is playing just absolutely magnificent footy. And they're going really well. Harrison Wheeler starts on a half-back flank, which is an interesting move. Then they throw him onto the ball, they can throw him around. You still got Matty O'Keefe, the 2 Scobel boys, Paul Cobler. They've got a lot of blokes to pick from the Seymour lines, and I think the Seymour will get over the line.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be a great game. One constant that we haven't mentioned that I think will suit the Swans more than Seymour, and that is if it stays dry, and I think what Guy said spot on, I think it's forecast to be as warm as 24 or 25 up here on Sunday, and they're on top of the ground side, the Swannies, and for that reason I'm going to go to I'll lean with the Swannies this week. I think they've got them covered for leg speed.
Well, look, they've definitely got them covered for leg speed. And Sammy Gimmel, who's been out injured, has been a good player from. I reckon he's a chance to come back into the side too, boys. But yeah, leg speed. And
Ryan Keys, John, by the sound.
Yeah.
Well, boys, I'm going to talk to you about Kai Abram and Euroa, and after I finish, I'll get you to help me out a bit on this one. The reality is both these sides are in shocking form. There's not another word for it. Kai Abram had a 39-point loss last week, and Euroa had a 47-point loss last week. Now, I wasn't at Kai, but I will tell you this, Kai will ride in the contest until half-time, certainly half-time, and well up to three-quarter time virtually at Benalla. They played particularly well. Now, but they were, in the end, they were overpowered. I think it wasn't so much that they were overpowered with ability. They're playing a few that aren't rock-hard fit, and because of that, that's when you get caught out when you want to play 100 minutes of football. Now, Kai Abram, a lot of things have been said about Kai. All I can tell you is this: when you go through their list, they've got one of the blokes that's clearly one of the top footballers in the competition in Morgan. I rate Liam Ogden very, very highly. I think it's time for the coach to put his hand up and say, listen, I owe a bit here, I'm going to do a bit here. Sammy and Tommy, the 2 Sheldon boys, the cousins, they really, Tommy's got to play one of his best final games, and Sammy has been a class act. Now, Sammy's kicked 11 goals for him, Williams has kicked 9, and then Burston's kicked 55. But I think with Billy, I don't know, I've got a feeling that he's playing injured, John, because...
Who's that, Burston?
Yeah, Billy Burston.
Come off half-time last week.
Yeah, well, I just reckon that right up until... the halfway mark of the year, he would have been on around 40, mid-40s anyway in the goal kicking, and he's been pretty quiet ever since. Colstock has got himself going. I rate Gemmell highly. He's a player that can really play. If you have a look, Josh Vick's been doing the job for him down back. Smith's a good player. They've got a lot of class, Kai, and they really have. Smith's got a huge job to do in the ruck. But I do think, young fella, I reckon you're up to it, because he's a lightly built fella, and those sort of blokes, they're like shearers. They just run and work hard and hard and hard all day. If you look at Euroa, Adzi Tarrant leaves a huge hole in their defensive end. If Adam doesn't play or if he tries to play
What's he, 50-50?
well, I really don't know at this stage, and it'd be an unfair call, but Adam's clearly in my top 5 footballers in the competition, and Barker, they didn't play last week. They're two pretty big out.
Foxy?
Yep.
If he's injured, do you play him?
No. No way. Bell was very, very good last week. Varley, they're using Varley as a tag, and I don't think it's really fair on this fellow because he's a better... I think he's got more to offer than a tag. Zorzi is a campaigner at best. Johnny Akupu's got a huge job to do. Brad Gleeson, I feel a bit for you, Brad, because you've got to travel from one side of Victoria to the other and coaching your under-18s, and then you've got to get across to Echuca. And I just hope you can go over switched on, mate, because you are super critical to him. Gilliland was a solid player for him last week. Brad Cunningham's a very, very good footballer now. In the notes here, you see that it says that Euroa with him to 3/4 time, but they certainly were. I'd love them to get a few boys back. I think that'd be a real bonus for them if they could pick up either of the Hayes boys. And Sharp would just add that much to Euroa in the skills area. A lot of people would say this is going to be an ordinary game and Kai have got him. I really do reckon you make a mistake when you do that, because I reckon Euroa last week, people would have thought the same thing. They showed a bit of character last week, Euroa. They really, really did. They've got Kai at Echuca. That ground's not going to favour either side, but I reckon it's going to be the game of the final series. I really do. And I reckon myself that Kyber might just get him in the last little bit.
Yeah, I reckon just as a start, I think you've been a bit hard on both sides saying their form's been shocking, Foxy, but that's okay. It's your opinion. I don't think they've been both sides. I don't think their form's been shocking. It hasn't been great, but
well, I meant last week.
That's okay. But look, you go through the matchups, and I've probably got to disagree too. If Tarrant, for me, if he's anywhere near 60 or 70% fit, you're playing, because Tarrant, in my eyes, is an absolute superstar, and I would look at that and say, well, what's your next best? And to me, Adam Tarrant, if he's 70% fit, well, you're playing. Look, obviously you touched on it. Anthony Long has had an exceptional second half to the season, Anthony. Max Gleeson came back in the side for Euroa last week, and I like this young fella. He runs in straight lines and he runs hard. Obviously Ben Barker is a huge player for Euroa, and you touched on it well. Morgan, absolute gun, and whoever gets him is going to have a big job stopping him. I think Burson's got a little bit of a knee injury myself, and last time Euroa played Kai, they pushed him up onto the wing, and obviously he kicked 3. But look, don't underestimate a few players, obviously, for both of these sides. Obviously, the coach in Gilliland, he can turn a game at the click of his fingers, and he can. And the captain, Andrew Bell's had a sensational year as well. This is going to be a good game, Foxy, you're right. But I think for me, and I don't know if this, I don't know if I should say this would be an upset, but I think Euroa can get him.
Yeah, well, look, you spoke about Morgan. I've seen him firsthand last week. He was absolutely outstanding. He's been in the best 16 times or whatever it is. But last week, take him out of that side. They get smashed last week because he was bound back, midfield and down forward. The concern for me is I think Durston's injured. Does he play? Chrissy Atkins injured. Joshy Vicks injured. And Brad Edwards. We haven't mentioned Brad Edwards. He's a massive out.
Yeah.
He is a massive out.
Did he take a week, did he, John? Or?
Yeah. He is a really, really good player, Brad Edwards. Where you can use him he's a very good swing player. They've had him back, they've had him forward, and he's been a really good player. You mentioned the other bloke's a good player. Look, I think this is going to be a really, really close game. And if Vic, Atkins and Durston come in, like, you're taking injured players in there, you take injured players into a final, you're taking a huge risk. And I have no doubt, if someone told me Saturday night, look, I'll go for Kai, but if someone said to me on Sunday night, oh, you're right, I've got up, that won't surprise me.
David, tell me, a player like Sherman kicked 5 goals against Euroa last time at Kyburn. How does Euroa shut a player like him down? I
don't think the way he's going at the moment, I don't think he's a priority to Euroa.
Right.
I think he's got to do a lot more. Yeah, he's a terrific fellow, and I'm not knocking him, but he's just going through a patch that every footballer that's ever gone through, that's ever played, is going through. They're prioritised. They've got to worry about Morgan, where exactly which end of the ground he plays on. And the one thing I will say, Guy, is that the only bloke I think that is in Euroa's lineup that can go with Morgan is Tarrant.
Yep.
And Morgan will expose Tarrant's injury. very, very early in the game. I'll tell you that now.
Colestock and Williams are very important this week.
From what I've heard, I don't think it's as bad as everyone thinks. But anyway, it's a good call, but I would be playing.
Okay, Johnny, last game.
Yeah, last game, big one. This is at Marootma on Saturday, of course. And look, if we just go through some of the side, it was interesting last week. Rochi started Ash Washington full forward at the start of the game, and I think it's a good move to see if there's going to be a tagger. They throw him off straight away because Watson starts at full forward. They play a four-man forward line, which is a very, very good setup with Elliot Bowen. Elliot Bowen, he's gone back to a bit of youth. He was outstanding on Saturday at centre half forward. He actually plays between centre half forward and full forward. And then they'll have Sanders at centre half forward, and Cuttress. That's their four-man forward line, which is a very, very good setup.
Good overhead, Dylan Cuttress, John, for a small fella.
Oh, he's got a good leap. He's got a good leap. He's a good player. Don't worry about that. Heath Aiken was very good. He got knocked out last week.
How's his health?
Yeah, well, whether he plays this week or not's another story. We know when you get concussion. But as I said, Jaden Gumpy, Brooke Martin, I reckon he'll go to Elliot Bowen. Brooke Martin's a very, very good player. Andy Polworth. I think Andy Polworth is probably one of the most underrated players in this league. I love the way he goes about his footy. If Heath Aiken does come up, I reckon Andy will grab him straight away, and he's just the man to go to him. Across their half-back line, you've got Ryan Colbert, Lockie Smith and Jake Paulpratt. And we've got to realise too, like we were doing this show on a Wednesday night, the big thing is whether Josh Mellington gets out of or stays in, whether Lockie Smith stays back or he goes forward, because I think Nick Wilnock's carrying a bit of an injury. But you've got Dylan Williams, didn't play last week, he'll come back into the side. Sanders will be there and Dylan Cuttress. Now, Jake Paul-Pratt, I think, will have to go to Dylan Cuttress because it's a crucial matchup. You know, Cuttress has kicked 36 goals this year, he kicked 39 last year, so it just shows you how dangerous. Nick Mellington came back into their side last week on the wing. You've got James Martinello. Whether James can start or stay in the middle all the time, Foxy, I don't know if he's got the leg speed in today's game, but he probably will get away. And Al Jacker, he's a star on the wing. We know how good a player he is. Lee Mullard, now he's a kid a lot of people haven't heard about. I think he'll go to Jacker. Brody Green, I reckon, might go to Nick Mellington. Of course, Daniel Anderson, he's been in their best 9 times.
Good player.
He has been fantastic for the Rochester footy side. In the rucks, it's going to be interesting. This is where the game's going to be won, I think, through the midfield, like most games are. But Josh Marchbank, I reckon in the last 4 or 5 weeks has just been absolutely outstanding. He's gone to the level, I thought at the start of the year he'd slipped. He's gone to the level now we thought he could. He's going to come up one of the best campaigners in the league, Sammy Brennan, Foxy. He's a hard, tough, fair, very good player, Sammy Brennan. Love the way he goes about it. Luke Morgan, Nick O'Connor. Now there's a name that a lot of people don't mention in this league. He is a good player, Nick O'Connor. He's been in their best 9 times, so that just shows you the year this kid's having. Will Martinello, I think he's won their best and fairest, didn't he?
Yeah.
Won the Benalla best and fairest 17
Well done, Will.
17 times he's been in the best, and I think he's still a red-hot favourite for the Morrison medal. And he's kicked 10 goals, so which is good. Now Stephen Strubent, if he starts in the middle, I reckon he'll go to Will Martinello, Steve Strubent, which I think is a good move again by Rochi to show their flexibility. He started in the middle last week, and I thought it was a very, very good move along there. The back line, you've got James Martin, Jordan Wolfe, Jordan Milk, James Flaherty will go to him. There's no doubt James Flaherty will go to him. James Flaherty last week, I just took my hat off. I thought he played an absolutely outstanding game. And Jordan, I know you're a good player, mate, but you're in for a hell of a day if this bloke picks you up, because he's like a blanket. He's just all over you. He just hangs to you all day, and he's a good player. Nick Knight, he's been fantastic off the half-back flank. He's just the way he runs and creates and the way they switch the play off there. Along with, this kid is going to be a star, mate. No mistake, this kid is going to be a star in GBL football in Nathan Moroney. I watched him very closely the weekend, and this kid is a very, very good young player. He's developed, he's very well developed. But Nathan, you could have to stand a bloke like Sam Martin. Now, if you go to a stand with a bloke like Sam Martin, you're in for a good day. I'll tell you what, wouldn't that be good to go and see Sammy Martin? If Sammy doesn't play in the midfield, they might start him on the flank. Him and young Moroney playing on one another. What a duel that'd be. And then you go down forward, Farron Peace, Josh Mellington, well, we don't know what happens there. Michael Exton's been unbelievable with 22 goals. You've got Nick Warnock with 32 goals. He's been a swing man for him all year. Mitch Bright, James Gledhill, he'll go to Josh Mellington if he's playing, and Nathan McCarty. And then you've got Jacob Perry, and there's a kid by the name of Joe Atley, played at the weekend. This kid has got a...
brother of the Atley from North Melbourne.
Correct. He has got an enormous amount of talent. He can play wing, he can play anywhere. Bacon was really good from... Zach Paul, Bennett and Hyde will probably get their chances or too, Foxy. But look, it's going to be an absolutely unbelievable game. The first time, Benalla lost by 34 points, and then they won, of course, by 1 point in the wet, Foxy. This is just going to be a cracking game. If you're anywhere near the area, get to this game. It's going to be a beauty.
Who's going to play, John?
Sorry?
Who's going to win?
A draw.
Guy, what do you think?
Rochi.
Why?
I just think Rochi, from what I've seen in the year, they're still, for me, they're the side to beat. I just think that they are such a hard running side that they're fit, they're drilled well, they are coached well. And I'd like to ask a question here too, depending on what happens with the Mellington situation this week, and I'll ask both of you, if Benalla get to the big one, can they win it without their full forward?
Well, like everything depends on night. They've got to get there tonight, haven't they? If he gets rubbed out tonight.
Yeah, I'm saying, but if he does get rubbed out tonight, and that's a big if.
If he gets rubbed out tonight, and
can they win? Can they get there, and can they win it?
I think if he gets rubbed out tonight, Roger will beat him tomorrow. On Saturday. I really do. Because I'll tell you what, something else Benalla have got to do. They've got to try and take the leg speed out of Roger's game.
Yep.
They've got to slow the game down, because they are a very, very quick side.
Well, he's kicked 95 goals, John, and the next highest goal kick is Nick Warnock. He's kicked 32.
Yeah, he's playing great footy.
It has to tell you that it's going to be a big damper on them.
But they have got a lot of depth.
They do, absolutely. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just putting it out there. Rochi.
Okay. Well, I think
be a great game, though.
I think this. I'm hoping two things happen. I'm hoping that Robinson plays for Benalla, the kid.
Yeah, I'd like to see young Robinson. He's a good kid.
Yeah, I'd really like to see him go on the side. And I think cometh the moment, cometh the man. I think that Nick Warnock can go to full forward at the drop of a hat.
If he plays.
Yeah, well, he's guaranteed he should be. He can definitely go to full forward.
Oh, mate, he's in
absolutely.
He's been an interleague full forward. He's been a bush ranger. He's been Nick Warnock's again. You know, like Nick's carried a bit of an injury, but I
you know what I reckon most punters will say is if Mellington goes out, and no side's a one-man band, but Mellington goes out, people will go to Rochester. If Mellington plays, people will go for Benalla.
That's certainly the consensus. Now, I will tell you that the broadcast games this weekend on Saturday, 1FM will be at Mooroopna. On Sunday, 1FM will be at Echuca, and at Benalla, 103.9 FM in Seymour will be broadcasting the Mighty Lions from that venue. Just to wrap the show up tonight, boys, I gave a little bit of an insight to it before, and I don't want to go on too long. I just want your answer and why. Guy, nominate one player only, sudden death, doesn't matter what side he's in, that you think will be the player of the final series.
Ash Watson for me. I just think Ash Watson, I still think he'll win the league medal. He's got experience, ex-AFL level player. I reckon this year's been his best that I've seen in the last 5 years for Rochi, and his experience, he's a great player, and he leads by example.
One word?
Go.
Don't you talk.
Go.
Just say one name.
Just go.
Will Martinelli.
That'll do, David.
Will Martinelli. Well, I'll tell you who I think. You can say for why Will Martinelli.
No, you said one word.
Okay. Well,
the hero went on.
We'll be for another hour.
Well, I'm hoping this bloke really turns on during the finals. The last time I saw him out on a park, he was absolutely dated, and he's been a proven performer on the big park.
Who?
Not in this competition, but certainly in other competitions. He's a fellow that takes pride in his appearance, and I've played where he's played, and it is a tough spot to play. But I'm telling you now,
they pull Pentries down.
I know, but we used to kick it over the fence there. If he plays, Mr. Bongetti from Seymour, believe you me, he could be the catalyst that gets Seymour into the grand final, and if he gets on Deakin on a given day, he could really hurt sides.
He's a gun.
Absolutely.
So he's your player, you're nominated.
Yeah, he's it.
Okay, I thought you said
No, I'll tell you what he's saying is right. If Seymour are to go a long way, this bloke is the bloke that'll set him alive.
He's a good player.
All right, well, we're going to go. I've got to say good night to Wonky the donkey out there at Tachura. Did you sleep well, darling, and don't do anything we wouldn't do.
He can't travel lane now.
To Mario, we thank you, Mario. We thank Oliver. I thought Oliver was very good.
Good.
Yeah. To Guy, thank you, mate. Your comprehensive
Marcus Stevens.
Mark Stevens for going on.
Good bloke, Mark.
To you, John, well done. And until next week, I tell you what a week it's going to be in football. You'll hear it all here, live on the GB Footy Show. Bye.
Ciao.